Hey everybody, this is not one of my usual videos that you'll see. I'm going to probably in this place have pretty pictures and stuff of maybe cats or rainbows or something, Warhammer 40k-ish, Slaneshi, that kind of stuff. But I have a guest with me. It's unusual. And what happens is Chandler is the guy. He is the man that does our 40k tournament scene here in my local area. He really... he's the driving force. I don't think we would have nearly a dynamic community here in the tournament scene and other 40k areas if it wasn't for him and the efforts that he put on. And I got to thinking, if I wanted to or someone else wanted to get into bringing tournaments to the area, ITC, or kind of help build the 40k community, the competitive community in the area, how would they go about that? And I'm like, you know what? I know a guy who knows a guy, because Derek knows this guy, but Derek doesn't know anything about Star Wars. We agree that. But who knows that? So welcome, Chandler.
Well, thank you for having me on, and thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. I'm happy to join you and discuss this endeavor in the pursuit of being a tournament organizer.
Okay, so lately we've been working on, and I just want to put this in here because I want other people to go and check it out, and maybe if they can, be a part of it as well, because this is going to be our second year. But we call it the Come the Apocalypse ITC Grand Tournament that we have, and for the size of our area, it's pretty amazing that we've been able to have a Grand Tournament, and a lot of that is due to you. So I just wanted to put a plug in there, and if you could say a little bit about this year, what's going on, and what we're going to do this year.
Sure thing. So Come the Apocalypse is a grand tournament. It's an ITC grand tournament here in southeast Alabama. This year it's going to be held in Dothan at the Holiday Inn. So if you're interested in attending, you can go check out bestcoastpairings.com, or you can go check our website out, cometheapocalypsegt.blogspot.com. and find out all the info you need to know. We got registration up there. We don't have missions down pat yet because we're just kind of waiting to see how the game's going to look by then. But we're leaning towards the Warzone Atlanta mission set for our event, but possibly ITC Champion missions as well. It will be a 2,000-point Battle-Forged tournament, 3 detachments per the rule book. This is our second year doing it, and I'm quite happy with the success that we had in year 1, and I'm really looking forward to an even better year 2. So if you're in the area, if you're in this anywhere in the southeastern United States and you play 40K and you're interested in experiencing a grand tournament, then go check our website out and sign up and come. I promise you will have a good time.
Yeah, yes, we will. The last one was pretty cool. Had fun, and hoping we keep growing and keep going and become, bigger than LVO, bigger than everybody. And he said if you're in the southeast, you can come. I'm just putting it out there. All you people, I know some people from England listen to this channel and stuff. Watch my YouTube channel. You come on, see what you got.
Oh boy, I would love to have some of the guys from across the pond come and play in our event.
Well, they've been kind of afraid to come and challenge us ever since that little thing way back in the day. What was that called? Oh yeah, the Revolution.
Oh, the Revolution. Yeah.
Yeah.
That just a little thing that happened here. No big deal.
It was an argument over the price of tea in China.
Right. Right.
All right. So here's my first question. I'm coming at this from someone who doesn't know a lot about this, because all I am is worker bee for you, Chandler. Me and all the other guys trying to work it and get it going. Say I'm in my local area. There's a few guys here. How do I jump into maybe starting a tournament scene in my area? Do I just bust out with an ITC GT, or what do I do?
Well, my journey becoming a tournament organizer was kind of a long one. Honestly, and I can, there's no definite way to go about it. I can only really kind of give insight to how I did it and kind of the steps that I took to make that happen. If you're wanting to pursue becoming a tournament organizer, there's certainly plenty of resources for you to do that out there, and there's plenty of people to network with out there, including myself. If you ever have any questions, but the first step is you really kind of have to solidify yourself, I think, into the local 40K scene, right? And for years, there has been kind of stigma attached to tournament 40K, and I think we're kind of getting away from that. Yeah, I hope.
Tryhards, and these guys are win at all costs. And
sure.
I'm not that kind of player. I go in the tournament, come in last place, and I have fun. I love it. You don't have to be a tryhard. You don't have to have this awesome, cool list building. Everything's mathematically correct, because I go to tournaments with fluffy lists sometimes. I go to tournaments with lists that make no sense to people but make sense to me, and that's what I like about the tournament scene that you've built, that you and everybody else that works with us has built in this local area. It's not a tournament scene where people are looking down on people like me who go, that guy doesn't know what he's doing, that guy's not making a mathematically superior awesome list, that guy never wins any games, because in one of our tournaments I actually came in second with my list that was kind of off the wall and stuff like that, because sometimes those things work out, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. And there are plenty of people who attend tournaments and go just for the atmosphere, to fun, to see and play against beautifully painted armies and show off their work as well. And it's about like-minded people coming together for a shared goal. And tournaments are great for that. And sure, you have those guys. You have your min-maxers and your guys who are just coming to try and win. Those people do exist. But at the same time, many of those people, a great majority of those people, are actually very good people also. They want to win at a high level and they want to play at a high level, but they're also good people. And that's kind of where the direction that tournaments have started heading in, I'd say, over the past few years, really. I mean, you're going to go to some and you might have a bad experience, but the majority of your experience, the horror story that you read about on the internet, is the minority. It's not the majority of players that are attending these things. It's a great way to get people in the community together for the hobby. It's fun. You don't have to. A lot of people are just scared to play in them because they're like, I don't want to get my rear end handed to me or what have you, or I don't want to play that guy and stuff like that. Most people you'll find in the tournament scene are actually really nice people. But the first thing that you have to do is really kind of network within your community, get a feel for your gaming group, and I recommend starting out small, doing what they call RTTs. You have 3 levels of tournament play. What the ITC, which is the Independent Tournament Circuit here in the United States, classifies as tournaments for their standings. And most TOs aspire to utilize the ITC because, well, it's a good set of guidelines, it's established, and the guys who are behind it really know what they're doing. So that's less work that you have to put in as a TO, and that's always good because you're going to be putting in a lot of work when you try to do these things. But you have 3 categories of tournaments. You have RTTs, which are classified as Rogue Trader tournaments, and these can have any number of players at all. You could have 4 players, or you could have 100 players. It's always a 3-round event. Usually a 3-round event. Sometimes 4, depending on how many players you might have. These are usually like your one-day tournaments. These are your Saturday or Sunday tournaments that you might see in your local area. And those are the great ways to start. And from there, you have grand tournaments, which are larger style events, which the minimum for the ITC for grand tournaments is 28, and you have to play at least 5 rounds to be considered a grand tournament. So generally what that means is you're talking usually a 2-day event in those cases. And grand tournaments are lots of fun, but I would, if you're just wanting to get into starting to do it, I would highly recommend just starting out with RTTs, little small tournaments in your local area. And if you have a game shop, talk to your game shop owner. Chances are they're willing to help you. I know ours here, Mike Campany, who runs our local store here in our little small neck of the woods, has been extremely helpful in helping get the tournament scene started up. It was the actual grand tournament was kind of our vision when he first started talking about opening his store here in town, and it was kind of a shared vision that we had. As a game store owner, obviously he had lots of goals that he was aspiring to, but that was definitely one of them.
So you guys set that out as an eventual goal. So you kind of set out this roadmap to start small with the RTTs and then gradually work your way up.
That is correct, and that is exactly what we did. We started running small events here at the store. It'd be Saturday or Sunday events. We'd have anywhere from 8 to as many as 16 people show up for these events. And the initial RTTs were rocky. I think the most important thing when you go to organize a tournament, at least from the standpoint of making sure it runs smoothly, is that there is a set of guidelines in place for the event that are clear in terms of what restrictions you want, if any, and the ITC has a good guide for that, which you can find that information on frontlinegaming.org. And at the top of their menu, they have the tab called ITC, which has tons of resources. They have all their mission packets up there. They have their guidelines, how to get started with the ITC on their page, and how to start reporting your scores, because they track scores across the world now, across the globe. And it's just a fun little way to track your events, and it draws in extra players too.
So the whole point of that is with what ITC does, because we all know that 40K can be kind of nebulous and gray in areas, and to have a competitive or more fair competitive environment, you've got to eliminate as much of that as possible, and that's what following the ITC guidelines can help you do, right?
That's correct. So that's an established set of standards for tournament play, and if everybody's on that page, on the same page when they come to an event, in terms of how certain rules interact, how certain armies interact, it makes the events run smoother, for sure.
Yeah, less arguments, less calling over judges about rules, vagaries, and such not. As best you can. I mean, we can't cover every 40K eventuality, because even the game designers miss stuff sometimes when they have one word that's different in a sentence, and it changes the entire meaning of a paragraph, and then they end up with a super-powered unit, and they're like, oh, no, we didn't mean that.
Absolutely, and that does happen. And I would also recommend that if you are considering being a tournament organizer, that for the most part, unless you're just lucky and you have somebody in your local meta who is really keen and well versed on the rules, generally you're also going to be the one that's making the rules calls as the head judge or what have you during the event. And you need to be pretty well spun up on the rules, and so that you can make those calls. There's plenty of Facebook groups out there that go over the rules. There's the of the game that discuss them. Many different groups. Competitive 40K Facebook group is a good one. ITC tournament organizers, if you're actually planning on becoming a tournament organizer within the ITC, that Facebook group is amazing. There's just a plethora of groups out there that can, fellow tournament organizers and things of that nature that can help answer rules questions and things of that nature, and we all kind of work together on those sorts of things. But you want to be pretty well versed in the rules, because you're going to most likely be the head judge for the event, and you want a good understanding of how the game plays.
So is that general 40K rules, like out of the 40K book, or do you need to have some level of knowledge of each of the codex rules as well?
Well, ultimately, you want to be as well versed in all of the rules as possible, but with the way that Eighth Edition has been, and with these high volumes of releases, it's very difficult to do that. And I don't think there's anyone out there who doesn't do it for a living, anyway, that can just stay abreast of every little thing. But you certainly want a very good grasp on the core rules themselves, and that is the main thing. Once you have the core rules, a firm understanding of how they work, most of your questions that you be faced with will have something to do with those. Can I target this unit? Can I shoot this unit? Can I attack this unit, etc.? Which most of the time will be you can answer those from the actual core rules.
And so what you can do as far as rules, maybe for armies that you don't play or not as familiar with, that's part of your initial startup with the community and gathering a core set of people around you to kind of help you build it, and that might have different armies and stuff that can kind of help you in that area.
For sure. Getting a stable crew of people that can help you organize and run events is fantastic. And I've been fortunate enough in my endeavors here to have a great group of players locally that help me tremendously in our efforts of organizing events and things of that nature. And as you build your community, those things will come. You'll have players that you'll grow with and that will help you grow the scene, because it benefits everyone, and it's fun and it's inclusive of the hobby. So another step that I would take is, once you've kind of established a relationship with the local meta and local community and your local game store or gaming club, and you've kind of researched the ITC missions and the rules and the format and how those and the core rules. There's several resources out there that you can use to help actually make your events run smoother, and one of the ones that I would highly recommend is Best Coast Pairings. There are two different apps that you can download. There's a tournament organizer app where you can download if you're organizing events. Then that helps you track everything. They do pairings, round by round pairings, even the opening rounds. They keep track of scores, and it really takes a burden of pressure off of the TO for data entry and things of that nature, which can be time consuming. So I highly recommend, if you're going to pursue being a TO, to utilize that app and utilize Best Coast Pairings. It's very flexible in terms of how being customizable for TOs and maybe different missions and things that they want to do. It's very user friendly. It's just a great app, and to me it's a must use if you're going to be TOing events. You need to use Best Coast Pairings. It will make your life so much easier, and it's free to use. There's no cost to it, so it's a great tool for tournament organizers out there.
Yeah, I know when we started to use it in our tournaments, I remember it before you were using that. It really streamlined the process of going in, like, here's what we got, and then we could move on, and there was a whole lot less confusion and backlog at the end of each game trying to get everybody's scores and everything all together and all that.
Oh, for sure. Best Coast Pairings is probably one of the greatest things to happen to the tournament community ever. Events such as Las Vegas Open, which is like a 400-plus player major event, those kind of events could not happen without an application like Best Coast Pairings that just automates everything. Because what it can do in seconds would take hours for a person to do.
All right,
on their own.
We've got to record our podcast in a little while. So the last thing I want to cover with you is if someone's going to get into this tournament organization, they need to kind of go in it with eyes open. So what kind of investment in time are they going to look at, and how are they going to offset that? By bringing in people, or building a core group, or what is the investment in that they're going to be putting in it personally, and how can they help to shoulder that burden?
Well, there is a lot of investment. I mean, in terms of your especially time. You're taking weekends away from your family to run events. You're going to be having to build terrain, get tables and things of that nature to host your events and to run them. That requires work. A lot of times in the community will be very helpful in that. I know ours is. We had a great group of guys that came together and helped build terrain and things of that nature, which really helped immensely. You want to work, to make sure that you're abreast of the rules and that you have the latest FAQs, and you're going to be interacting with your players a lot because they're going to be messaging you a lot. They're going to be calling you and things of that nature. So there is a significant time investment into it, and it's one that if you're serious about doing it, you need to be aware that there is a pretty significant time commitment to it, but it's also very rewarding as well. But yeah, it's a great experience if you can get that core group of people and you can start running smaller events, and once you get those smaller events under your belt, then you can pursue even running large events, grand tournaments, and things of that nature. You've got to be able to make contacts outside of your community. You've got to be able to drum up for prize support and sponsorship and things of that nature, and those things take time to do, and you have to also realize that there is a financial investment that you will be making as well. No tournament organizer runs these events to make money. It's just not really a good business model. Most tournament organizers will take money out of their own personal money to help put these things on, be it get terrain or tables or what have you. There is a significant investment of time and maybe even in your own personal finances to run it. So you have to be passionate about it, and I think that's really the key. If you have the heart and the passion for it, you'll be successful. There's plenty of resources and tools out there to help you, guide you along the way.
So one of the most significant investments you need to consider first is your love and passion for the game and for the tournament scene, and playing and helping your fellow players. If you've got that, then there's resources out there. This big topic, we can't really get all of it in 30 minutes, but we just wanted to do this quick thing, put it out there. Me and Chandler popped into my head, and Chandler said, "Yeah, we'll do it. We call each other by last names a lot because I'm ex-military and stuff. That's why sorry, we do that.
Same here.
But I think if you want to ask him some more questions, he'd probably be willing to answer. I think maybe one of the best places to get a question out is Come the Apocalypse Warhammer 40K podcast page on Facebook. If you guys can go there and post some stuff, and you can check out also about the GT and what we put on there and the podcast and the stuff that we take on there too. I got things dinging on my computer. Sorry about that, guys. That happens sometimes. But Chandler, any last words before we log off?
Well, I just want to thank you for having me on. I'm very happy to join you here and give some insight and some lessons that I've learned. And if you're interested in pursuing becoming a tournament organizer, I highly recommend you do it. It's fun. It is rewarding, even though there is a significant demand of your time and energy and effort. It is also very, very rewarding. The friendships that you'll make along the way are absolutely 100% worth every bit of effort that you will put into organizing these things.
Yep, and it is a great way to grow your local community, draw in new players. Especially if you're doing it at a local store, when they see all these tables with the terrain and the painted models and this thing, and the new player that maybe hasn't seen anything about that game walks in and sees that, it is an amazing advertisement for selling the community and growing the community, getting more people for you to beat down in the ground and bash their faces, win the game, right? So I thank you all, and as we always say, we will talk to you later.